I was in something that I didn't even know how to run, or I didn't even know how to approach. So Krisha and I met in July, or just before, I should know, June. And before that, I was working in the business, or my husband's business, and just doing work day to day, no strategy, no background information. So that was one. The other side was my personal life. I had no boundaries. My life consisted of pleasing everybody else before I did anything for myself. And at any point where, somebody crossed my path of something that I wanted to do, I didn't understand those emotions. And instead, I would lash out. So I was very angry. And it's something that I didn't understand at all. It's, I was just defined as an angry person, and that I couldn't hold my emotions. And, anything and everything that I did was wrong because it didn't amount to what other people wanted from me. So no, I had no boundaries. I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself. And, entrepreneurship was a far-fetched idea. The concept looked really cool, but I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it. And there was a slight sort of envious emotion there because my husband was doing something that he enjoyed, and he was working for himself. And here I was in corporate doing something that I didn't enjoy. So that's where I was at before I met Krisha. When I met Krisha for the first time, it's almost like the clouds started to move. And it was interesting because I knew I was in a spot where I needed change, but I didn't know what I needed. Again, like I was still very much in that lost space. But when I met Krisha, where I was hesitant to continue was, one, finances, right? Naturally. And two, is this really going to work? And at that, when I did decide, it was more like, God, I got nothing to lose. I came in to work with Krisha because I wanted to become an entrepreneur, a female entrepreneur that was successful, and, help strategize that path. But what I didn't know when I started with Krisha was that there were so many self-sabotages and so much conditioning that I had been, that I'd grown up with and that I had sort of internalized, that I didn't even know that all of that was completely getting in the way of me being who I am. So in order for me to be this successful entrepreneur that I'm working towards, and have a great career, have a great, life personally too, and have great relationships, I needed to work on myself. One of the other big areas that I think that I've benefited is learning to set boundaries, and how setting boundaries helps me do the things that I really want to do. Boundary setting with people was huge, huge. Because coming from a person who's very giving and wanting to do everything for everybody else, it's been a battle. That was another area that really, really has been a lot of work, but working with Krisha helped me sort of say, no, you don't get my time, or no, you can't speak to me that way because I'm going to do this. And this is how, and people understand, people don't like me always when I do it, but then they also understand that she's still going to do what she wants to do. You need to know when you're working with Krisha is that there's no bullshit. Krisha is all about setting us straight and identifying, calling us out on any bullshit that we are sort of self-sabotaging with, but with a kind heart. It takes time, and it is genuinely a journey to get to where you genuinely want to be, but you have to be so self-aware of that before you can actually start actioning those needs and wants, right? One of the biggest decisions that we as women have to make in our lives is when we need to decide to invest in ourselves. And it's very difficult to put us first sometimes. We're so conditioned to believe that we're not worth the investment. And it's really scary because we're also in a mindset that, helping yourself is not important, and all the other things like buying a house or doing all these other things, or taking care of our families is the most important thing. But once we get past those reasonings, the investment in ourselves is so worth the outcome So just to sort of end off, one of the things I actually want to say is that I think that anything, like I said, I think before, is that I think that anything um, worth having in our lives is worth investing in and taking the time. And I think the biggest sort of most important thing should be ourselves.